Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to Tea Time Crochet. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do the squash portion of our cornucopia. I have two different sizes here. This is the one in the tutorial today, but I do tell you that you can leave a row out and it will be more this size than that size. You know, I wanted mine to look different as, you know, all the pieces, so that's why they're different sizes. This is more of a typical squash size. So if you just leave that last increase row out and just do a regular single crochet row, you'll be able to get this size. So I will let you know at that point when you're able to just get this size. So this is the tutorial for today. Like I said, I wanted mine to look a little bit different because, you know, all squash look different. Some are fat, some are skinny, some are long. It just depends. But these are all done in single crochets, and then you start from this end and then you increase pretty dramatically. You increase and then you just drawstring the top closed. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the tutorial. Okay, the things that you're going to need, I do want to apologize for all the lint that's on my background right now. I've been doing so many tutorials I haven't had time to wash it. So it's kind of linty from all the yarn that I've been using. So please forgive me for that. But the things that you're going to need are some yellow yarn. This is just some pale yellow yarn. It's a Red Heart Super Saver. I do not know the color because I don't have the label. Normally I stick the label in the middle when I wind it, when I cake it up, and for some reason I didn't do that. Maybe I had lost the label before, but anyway, it's a standard Red Heart Super Saver. So anywhere you find Red Heart Super Saver, this color should be there. It's in their standard line. And then you're just going to need some green. This is just, you know, some scrap yarn I have. It's also a Red Heart Super Saver, and I do not know the color of it either. So I'm sorry about that. It is just a dark kind of forest pine color. It is also part of the standard line of Red Heart Super Saver, so you should be able to find it anywhere. You're going to need some scissors, as usual, a yarn needle with a large eye, and I'm going to be using a 5mm crochet hook. You can use whatever hook that your yarn suggests if you would like, but I'm going to be using this. And then you're also going to need some fiberfill. So this is just, you know, a gallon-sized bag that I just keep so I don't have to carry around the big bag of fiberfill. So to start off with, we're going to start off with the green. So we're just going to use the green for this first section, and then we'll switch to the yellow. So we're just going to start with a slip knot, and I'm going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, kind of like we've been doing with, you know, most everything that we, kind of like we've been doing with a lot of the pieces for the cornucopia. So I'm going to slip stitch to join into this beginning stitch, and I'm going to pull that tight, and then I'm just going to chain 1 and kind of forget that that's there. So we're going to put 6 single crochet into this ring. So this is 1, Whoops. And another thing that you're going to need are some stitch markers. And I'm sorry I forgot to mention that. And you'll probably want to put it in this first stitch right here. Because we're going to be using single crochet, and sometimes with single crochet it's hard to find that first stitch. So 2, 3, 4, oops, 5, and 6. And then I'm just going to give this beginning a little tug, and then we're going to slip stitch to join to this beginning single crochet. So this is what you should have so far. And then the next round we're going to just repeat that. So I'm going to chain 1, and I'm just going to forget that's there, and then I'm going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch around, making sure that I put my stitch marker into that first single crochet there. Just like that. And then 1 single crochet in every stitch around for a total of 6 stitches. And then we're going to slip stitch to join. Just like that. And then we're just going to fasten this green portion off. So I'm just going to cut that because we're done with the green portion for now. And then we're going to need our yellow yarn. And I'm just going to pull it through that first stitch and then chain 1. And I'm going to pull that real tight. So for this next round, we're going to do an increase round. So we're going to go back into that same stitch right there and put 1 single crochet, and I'm going to put my stitch marker in there. And then in the next stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochet. And then in the next stitch, 1 single crochet. And then in the next, 2 single crochet. And then 1 in the next. And then 2 into your last stitch right here. And then we're going to slip stitch to join into the beginning of that first single crochet. I'm just going to pull it tight. And it should start forming, you know, a little circle. Looks like a tiny little hat. And then in the next row, we're just going to chain 1 here, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So I'm going to go back into that first stitch and put a single crochet, put our stitch marker in, and then I'm going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch around. And I'm going to slip stitch to join into this beginning single crochet here. Okay, so right now would be a good time to hide these extra tails, so I'm just going to flip it inside out just like this. Let's pull that out a little bit, and then I'm going to go and hide all of these extra tails here. And then I will meet up with you when I have finished that. Okay, so I finished hiding all my tails, and I'm just going to flip it back inside, right side out. You want to make sure that you do that. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat this next row for the next 5 rows. So I'm going to chain 1 here, and I'm going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch around. Okay, and then we're going to slip stitch to join right here. So we're going to repeat this row for 4 more rows. So once you have completed your next 4 rows, you should have a total of 4 rows, counting no, it should be a total of 9 rows, counting this first row here. So go ahead and put 1 single crochet in every stitch around for 4 more rows, and then I will meet up with you when I have completed that. Okay, so I finished the last of my 4 rows, and then I just slip stitch to join in the beginning right there. So for our next row, it's going to be an increase row, so we're going to single crochet into this first stitch, and then you can add your stitch marker if you want, and then we're going to put an increase in the next stitch, and then 1 in the next, and 2 in the next, and we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So 1 and then 2. Okay, and then we're going to slip stitch to join. And then we're going to do one more round of repeating that for the next row. So I'm going to chain one and then single crochet into that same stitch, and then I'm going to put 2 single crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 into the next, and then 2 into the next, and we're just going to repeat that all the way around. Then we're just going to slip stitch to join. So just like that. And then for our next row, we're going to just put, we're going to chain 1 here, putting a single crochet into that first stitch, and then we're just going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch around. And what we're doing here is we're increasing so our squash will widen out fairly quickly. So we're going to slip stitch to join. Okay, then our next round is going to be our last increase round. So what we're going to do is we're just going to basically repeat what we did before. We're going to chain 1 here. Okay, so I'm just going to chain 1 here, and then I'm going to put 1 single crochet into that first stitch, and then 2 into the next, and then 1 into the next, and I'm going to repeat that all the way around. Okay, so go ahead and complete out that row, and then I will meet up with you when I am finished mine. Okay, so I'm completing my last stitch right here, and I'm going to slip stitch to join. So that is our last increase row. All of our next rows are going to be repeating this row that we're going to do now. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So I'm going to go ahead and continue that, and then when I get back to my last stitch, then I'm just going to slip stitch to join, and I am going to repeat this row, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch for the next 10 rows. So that's not counting this one. So after you complete this row, you'll need to repeat that 10 more times. And I will just meet up with you when I have completed this row and then the next 10. So this row is just 1 single crochet in every stitch around, and then repeat that 10 more times for 10 more rows. So I've completed all of my rounds here, and that was a total of 25 from the first round all the way to the end is a total of 25. And then I just slip stitch to join, and then I'm going to leave myself a fairly long tail to draw string closed. I'm just going to pull that through. Okay, so we're going to need our stuffing now, our fiber fill. So just like all the other pieces, I'm just going to pull the fiber fill apart, and we want to stuff this skinny portion first. And you can kind of shape that as you're doing it. So if you want it to curl a little bit, you can make it curl. So just like that. And now we're going to start stuffing the main body of it. We don't want it like bulging, because we're going to kind of stretch this out a little bit, because right now it's kind of squatty and the stitches are really tight. So once we get the fiber fill in and we draw string it closed, we're going to try and mold it into the shape that we want it to be in. So you just want to stuff it until it's, you know, mostly full, just like all the other pieces. And then we're going to draw string it closed. So I'm just going to thread my needle, and I'm just going to draw string it the same way that we've drawn string, the same way that we've done all the other pieces, just back and forth through every stitch all the way around. If you would like your squash to be a little bit smaller, you can leave out that last increase row and just put a regular single crochet row in. and that will give you a smaller squash. But like I said, once we mold this into the shape that we want it to be, it's not going to be as fat and round as it is now. I had to go and buy another bag of fiberfill, and this one looks a little bit different than what I had before. Sorry for bumping the camera. My room's getting a little tight here. Okay, so I'm back to where I started. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shove this in there as I'm drawstringing it. Oops. How did I do that? So just like that. Just keep poking it in. So once we get it closed as much as it's going to go without breaking our yarn, we're going to knot it off. And I know that's a pretty big gap still right there, but I'll show you how to close that up in just a minute. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run a couple stitches across this top, coming up through the bottom. So just like that. And then we're going to go back through the same way we came in. And as you pull these tight, that will close up that hole. And you won't be able to see them. So, just like that. It's nice and closed and you won't be able to see it at all. So what we need to do is we just need to put a knot in here, that way those don't come undone. And then we're just going to run it straight through the center and out the side just like before. And you want to give that a little bit of a tug. Okay, so this is where we're going to shape our squash a little bit. Just want to give it a little bit of a tug, relax those stitches a little bit. So just like that. Like I said, if you wanted to make a smaller, you want this piece to be a little bit smaller. Like my first one that I did here, I left out that increase row, that last increase row, and just did a regular single crochet row, and that made it a little bit smaller. But as I've said with every piece, I want, some dimension. I want it, I don't want them to look the same. So And this one I didn't even put any green on. I was just testing the pattern, and I don't have a whole lot of that green left. So I'll probably go back and run some stitches across the top just to make it look a little bit like a stem. But that is my squash portion of my Arconicropia. And next will be the leaf portion, and that tutorial is totally optional. You don't have to add any leaves. It's just, I thought it would be nice to add a little decoration to our cornucopia. And I'm also going to be adding those sunflowers that I had made over the summer, I think it was. And I have a tutorial for that, so I'm going to link that at the very end when the tutorial that I show the assembly of the cornucopia. I'll link that down below, and I'll show you how I'm going to use those. But that is my tutorial for today. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.